Welcome to Bigfoot Outlaw Radio. This is Matt. And this show is going to be a little different. It's just me. There's some stuff I want to address that I need to get off my chest. Whenever I first got interested in Bigfoot, it was at a time where I was searching for answers. I actually had an interest in the paranormal from a very early age. And because of my interest in the paranormal, it led me to information about Bigfoot. Whenever I was a kid, your only sources of this type of information was in books and the occasional In Search of episode or whatever television special might come on about it. But the paranormal and Bigfoot were considered all in the same category. And Bigfoot was interesting to me. I had a book called Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, I think it was called. It was a little paperback book, and that was the first introduction that I had to Bigfoot on somewhat a solo basis. The stories were amazing. The idea of this big, hairy monster living in the woods of North America just were captivating to me. I had an interest in wildlife, and the idea that this thing might be out there was amazing to me. But my primary interest was, like I said, the paranormal. Specifically ghosts, but anything really. The reason for this is, like I said, I was searching for answers because I grew up in a house that had, some strange phenomena taking place even before I was born. And as a kid, experiencing these things that I couldn't explain, I felt isolated. I felt like there was nobody to talk to. And so I was seeking answers, trying to understand what it was that I was experiencing. Little did I know that there really weren't any answers to be found. But that's where I was searching in those books and stuff. And anyway, I was probably about 9 years old, I guess. 8 or 9. And I had a dream. In the dream, I was actually at our lake house. And in the dream, I was also at the lake house. And in this dream, there was a tapping at my bedroom window. And I went over and I moved the curtain and peeked out the window, and there was a Bigfoot creature standing out there. And it was different colors. Nothing crazy. I'm just saying the hair wasn't a uniform color. It was different, shades of brown and black in the dream. And it was motioning for me to follow it out towards the woods. I don't know why I had this dream. I don't know if it was because of the books I had read or the stories I had heard. I don't remember at the time Bigfoot being on the brain or anything. So it was kind of weird and a dream that always stuck with me. Now we fast forward to the age of the computer. And me getting on the internet, discovering all these new websites and stuff. This was around 1998. And eventually I searched the word Bigfoot. Found out there was quite a bit of information out there on this creature. And that people actively went out and searched for them in different states, all over the United States. And this blew my mind. I found a website called the BFRO, signed up with that group, hoping to go out on an expedition. I never did. found another group based in Oklahoma and met the group that I would eventually call the Outlaws, and become close friends with them and extended family even. And that's whenever I started actively going out and searching for this creature. Now then, I heard a lot of stories. Bear and Kumbo and Dan and Vicky and just everybody involved had years more experience than me. But I didn't necessarily take their word for everything. I listened to them, and after getting to know them, I certainly didn't have any reason not to believe them. But I wanted to see for myself. And then that's how I ended up in the field with these strangers. And from the very beginning, going out, there was certainly things going on that I took note of, finding tracks and things like that I couldn't come up with an explanation. But I soon realized that there was something to this. It eventually led to my own sighting. The first one, at least, down in Sulphur, whenever I saw one through a night vision scope. Sure, you've probably heard that story by now. And after that, there was a couple of more incidents where I saw a Bigfoot. I've had several encounters, several glimpses. As far as signs are concerned, all of it would probably add up to just maybe a minute if you combined everything together, total time of witnessing these creatures. And that was the thing. I was a Bigfoot researcher, but then I became a Bigfoot witness. And somewhere in there, I tried to walk a line. I was probably more skeptical and more critical of stories and claims and evidence at that point because I felt like I had to be. Here I was, fairly new to the game. You had people like, Professor Krantz and different people, John Bendernagel, who had been out there for years and years and years and never seen anything. And here I am, just a couple years in, and I'm already having sightings. Who's going to believe that? How most people go a lifetime without seeing one, and here I've seen, 2 or 3. I have no way to prove it to anybody other than, my claims, but I felt like I had to be critical of myself, and therefore I had to be critical of everybody else. And I had to walk that line because that was the only thing you had in this field was your integrity, or so I thought. I thought that way for many years until realizing that whenever it comes to Bigfoot research, we're all living inside of a bubble. Nothing outside of that bubble considers any of us having any sort of integrity. It was kind of like whenever people were criticizing Les Stroud for teaming up with Todd Standing, which, a lot of people probably won't even know what I'm talking about, but for those that do, people were very critical of Les for teaming up with Todd. He's a controversial guy. A lot of people consider him a hoaxer, but he also has a lot of people that believe his claims and his videos. But let's put it frankly for everybody that everybody sees all of us the same whenever it comes to Bigfoot. So Todd Standing isn't any worse than anybody else out there claiming that Bigfoot is real. And that kind of hit home. It was a real eye-opener, because he's right. Outside of the Bigfoot world, we're all the same. And even though a lot of us put on that researcher hat or that investigator hat, no matter how bad we hate the term, a lot of us are just witnesses, like me and like anybody else that's looking for answers. We're just witnesses. We just saw something. We didn't do anything to cause it to happen. We are not special. We were just in the wrong place at the wrong time and saw something very rare. As I've grown in this community and heard more and more stories, you can't help but run across certain situations that leave you scratching your head. I mean, Dan Ricky said it a lot, you're going to end up with more questions than answers. That's exactly what's happened. Just this recent past couple of episodes with Debbie Jones Audio. I mean, I don't care what people think about it. They don't know Debbie. They don't know the situation. So some people are, calling it BS, saying it's hoaxed. I know it's not. It's not the only time I've heard it. I've heard other recordings that were very similar. And that's something talking. That's a language. Is it Bigfoot? Is it a Bigfoot language? I don't know. For years, with that researcher hat on, I felt it necessary to shove my opinions out there, to shove my theories out there. But the truth is, I don't know. I don't know anything. I never have. And unless these things are proven and studied and dissected, I probably never will. Sure, I have opinions. Sure, I have theories. But I've made a mistake in the past by forcing those opinions out there and pushing my opinions on other people and basically ignoring people or arguing with people that didn't share the same opinions as myself. And I apologize for that. I apologize to anybody that I've done that to. It doesn't really matter what I think I know. There's no way to learn and continue progress of knowledge if you put yourself inside of a box. And I've done that for years. So I'm not going to do that anymore. I want to start a new podcast. And recently I put out sort of a solicitation for people that have witnessed something strange that has affected them. But not just cryptids, not just Bigfoot, but paranormal, anything. Aliens, ghosts, Dogman. It doesn't really matter what it is. If it's something that science doesn't acknowledge or just anything, I want to hear about it. I want people to share those stories. I want to give them a platform to get those stories out, to share them, to try and help them talk about it. Because these things affect us greatly. They can change your life forever. I mean, look at me. Bigfoot is something that's takes up the majority of my life now. And if I hadn't seen it with my own two eyes, it probably wouldn't. But somebody that I respect and admire a lot called me out whenever I made this request. Called me a hypocrite, basically. Told me I was talking out both sides of my mouth, and it pissed me off. It pissed me off bad. And I argued back, and, you don't know what you're talking about. It's, two different things. I've come down on the woo, on the Bigfoot woo. I've told people that I don't believe them, or they're lying, or they're mistaken about what they've witnessed. But at the same time, I've had several paranormal experiences in my life, and I accept the paranormal as something that does exist. And I've always kept woo Bigfoot stuff and paranormal stuff and Bigfoot all in their separate piles, and I never wanted to mix them. But now I have seen that was a mistake. Just because I didn't observe something, just because I wasn't there and didn't witness what that person is claiming, doesn't mean it's not true or that they didn't witness it. Even if I don't understand it, because there's a lot of things that I've seen that I don't have an explanation for, that I can't express logically, that I can't understand with known science. And it's been that way my entire life. It's driven me to the point of where I am now. So why I did it whenever it came to Bigfoot to other people, I don't know. And to those people, once again, I apologize. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have treated people that way. And I apologize to anybody that I've ever isolated or cut off or, ridiculed because of the claims that they're making. I shouldn't do that. It doesn't matter what my opinions are. It doesn't matter what my theories are. And I should have listened. And hopefully, in the future, I can maybe provide a platform for those people to share and express their stories. And show that I am there just to listen and not push my opinions. I'm going back to the days of where I'm a witness. I'm not a researcher anymore. I don't want to be classified as a Bigfoot researcher. I'm just another guy who's witnessed some stuff, like anybody else who has seen something. And I want to help people because I know how it's affected me, and I know how it's affected others. And I want to accomplish something, even if it just helps one person. Now, does that mean Bigfoot Outlaw Radio is going woo or paranormal Bigfoot or whatever? No, but I'm open to the discussion. I'm open to people telling their stories, and I'm not going to criticize them, and I'm not going to attack them, and I'm not going to shut them down or challenge what they're saying anymore. That's ridiculous. I should have never done that. And I feel bad that I have. I don't know if that's going to cost subscribers or listeners or fans or maybe even friends. But that's how I feel now. That's the point I'm at. The Bigfoot Outlaw Research Group, or whatever you want to call it, the Bigfoot Outlaws. That's, Bear's baby. I'm not saying that anything I say represents how they view Bigfoot or how they approach the subject or anything else. I'm not asking anybody to not be flesh and blood, but I'm also not asking anybody not to be open to the paranormal or closed to the paranormal. If people say they've experienced something strange, who am I to tell them different? Like I said, I wasn't there. Just because I didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. So, with all that being said, if you're still here, I have a story I'll share with you. This happened down around Paris, Texas, the Pat Mays Lake area, on one of the many trips that I've made to the area. I was there with Bear and a fairly large group of researchers. We were on an isolated road somewhere in the woods. I couldn't tell you the location if I had to. We were being guided around by locals. It was the middle of the night. I have no idea where we were. All I know is it was a dirt road in the woods and there was a bridge. Okay, so as soon as we got there, pull off to the side of the road, and you can smell death in the air, something dead. And the odor was strong. I mean, really strong. There was probably close to 10 of us there. Couple vehicles. Everybody immediately starts searching the area, trying to find the source of the smell. Can't find anything. One of the guys that was there with us, Chad Scott, he couldn't get out of the back of the truck because of the overwhelming sickness he felt as soon as we got to the area. I was out of the bed of the truck. Everybody else was out running around. I was kind of hanging back talking to Chad. And I'm watching as fireflies, lightning bugs, whatever you want to call them, they're flying across the road. You can see them lighting up. And they're going from the right side of the road to the left side. And as they reach the left side of the road, they're literally falling out of the sky onto the ground and just laying there flashing and dying on the side of the road, all up and down the left side. That was the first weird thing. There was a bunch of tree structures, some X formations, some tree bows, and I think maybe a teepee formation, all right there past the left side of the road, right there in the woods, clearly visible from the road. And a group of guys started tearing them down, tearing them apart, trying to break the tree bow, breaking the X formation, knocking the teepee down. It was really weird. I don't know why they were doing it. I've never seen anybody behave that way. I certainly didn't agree with what they were doing. But I felt out of place challenging them. You know, I was a visitor here, but I don't understand why they did it. A couple of guys walked on farther down the road by themselves. And they walked probably about 50 yards or so. And then they came back. And whenever they came back, they said that they hit the wall. They hit a spot in the road where they did not feel comfortable going any further. They felt if they took another step further, something bad was going to happen. After talking to them, they walked on past me, and I'm looking down the road. And once again, on the left side of the road, I saw someone standing there. This person, I mean, it looked like an older Native American person I mean, that's what it looked like. But, I mean, it was a ghost. That's what it looked like. It looked like a ghost. They were see-through. I looked at them. I saw them for maybe 5 seconds, and then they just kind of dissipated into the air. And it freaked me out pretty good. It looked like an old Native American man wearing something. I'm not trying to be cliche, but like a blanket or something was thrown over his shoulders. Looked very out of place. I don't know. So then I walked back towards the back where the truck was parked and everything, where Chad was at. And whenever I got there, I believe it's whenever I grabbed a spotlight out of the back of the truck. At this point in time, one of the guys there was off to the left side of the road in the woods about 10 yards. And they also had a flashlight and were shining it around. And I think at the time they were looking at a tree structure, if I remember correctly. I mean, this, happened a very long time ago. I've got the spotlight. I'm shining it around in the area where they're at, but not at them. As I pan across, I catch eye shine between these two trees, and the trees were growing in like a V shape with the eye shine in the opening of the V. I pan across, catch the eye shine, pan back, and put the beam on the eye shine. It's about 20, 25 yards from the road. I'm looking at this eye shine. It's about 4 feet high off the ground. And it's blinking at me. The eye shine color is, your typical reddish, orangish, amber color. And at first, I think my eyes are playing tricks on me. What I saw was a head that was kind of blocky shaped, kind of squared off, and a torso. Kind of a robust chest. I couldn't see any arms. I couldn't see any legs. But this thing that I was looking at looked like it was made out of wood. It looked like it was covered in tree bark. I immediately shined the light over at the guy that was closest to it because I was afraid of him walking towards it, or what is this thing? I'm trying to process everything. And by the time I had shined the light over to him and shined it back at this thing I was seeing, the thing was gone. Just an empty space between the forks of the trees where it was standing. At that point, I called it quits. I got into the back of the truck, ready to go. Didn't get back out of the truck. That night, I told Chad what I had seen, and I told Bear what I had seen. Other than that, not very many people know. I've never really shared that story publicly. If I have, it's been very random. I never thought I would share it on this show for sure. But that's what I saw. I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying it had anything to do with Bigfoot. I don't know if it had something to do with Bigfoot. I don't have any idea what it was. But it happened, and I know what I saw. Now, would I ever be able to convince anybody in the world that I'm telling the truth or that I really did see it? No. Does that change the fact of what I saw? No, it doesn't. And I've had those kind of experiences in my life. And that's why I'm no longer going to be treating people like that. One of the first things we do whenever you've seen a Bigfoot and you're talking to a non-believer or a skeptic, the first thing you think whenever they're telling you, that you're full of it or that Bigfoot's not real, the first thought that comes to your head is, well, you've never seen one, so you don't know. But yet I do that to other Bigfoot people if their claims don't line up with my own beliefs or what I think Bigfoot should or shouldn't be. And I'm not comfortable with doing that anymore. Not at this point in my life. I hope everyone understands that. Whether they agree with it or not, I hope they respect it. I think they will. At least the ones that matter will. And I hope the listeners of the show understand that whenever it comes to Bigfoot, I want the whole story out there, not just the parts that I want to be out there or the parts that I think should be out there. It's no longer about me giving my opinion. I'm just a host. I'm just a witness. I just want to give people the platform. Does that mean Bear won't be on the show anymore? No, it doesn't. Bear will still be here, hopefully. If he's not, that's up to him. The show will still continue as it has. But for people who might have experienced something strange or might have experienced something they can't explain whenever it comes to Bigfoot, I'd like to hear those stories. And if you're comfortable, I'd like to give you a platform to talk about them. And to those that are listening who maybe have experienced something paranormal or something unrelated to Bigfoot, I'd like to hear those stories too. You can always reach out to me on Facebook. You can always reach me at bigfootcrossroads@gmail.com. I'd love to put those stories out there if people are willing to share them. If not, I'd still like to hear them if they're comfortable with telling me. And I, of course, will respect and protect everyone's privacy. I appreciate everybody that stuck around this long. And I hope you continue listening. And I hope the Bigfoot Outlaw radio family continues to thrive and continues to grow into this new future. As always, thanks for listening.